Welcome to episode 177 of Build Your House Yourself University by BYHYU. I'm your host and fellow student, Michelle Nelson, and together we'll learn the basics of home design and construction and demystify the building process so we can make informed decisions and build quality dream homes with or without a general contractor. For decades, the standard ceiling height was 8 feet tall, a dimension that resulted from 2 4-foot wide drywall sheets laid together horizontally. But homes are now being built with standard 9 or 10-foot ceilings on the first floor and ceilings at 8 or 9 feet tall on the second floor. When 8-foot ceilings were standard in most houses, cabinets were often designed to accommodate that height. Standard cabinets would go all the way to the ceiling by adding crown molding and trim in the gap between the top of the cabinets and the ceiling. Alternatively, cabinets would extend to a drop-down drywall soffit within the kitchen. An interior soffit is a drop-down box that runs along the ceiling and often hides plumbing, ducts, and electrical wiring. With today's taller ceilings, the potential space above standard upper cabinets has become larger, and we'll have to decide how far up we want our cabinetry to go. Should we leave the open space between the upper cabinets and the ceiling? Or should we fill that space in with a soffit or additional cabinetry? Leaving an open space above the cabinets or filling the space with drywall soffits are the most budget-friendly options. And although some homeowners dislike the look of soffits, there are ways to disguise or decorate soffits to make them less of an eyesore. You can make the soffit a design feature by having it project out to frame your cabinetry, or you can add lighting, artwork, or molding to soffits to incorporate them into the overall kitchen design. But if soffits just aren't for you, you can add extra cabinetry so cabinets reach all the way to the ceiling, or you can leave the space above your upper cabinets open. If you leave the space above the cabinets open, there may be anywhere from several inches to a few feet of empty space between the top of the cabinets and the ceiling. It's not uncommon for people to decorate this open area with knickknacks or plants. But be careful if you decide to add items to the open space above cabinets. Number 1, because it can make your kitchen feel and look cluttered. Number 2, because it can make your kitchen look like it was designed in 1999. And number 3, because the more items you put above the cabinets, the more items you'll have to dust. And kitchen dust isn't the dry dust found in other parts of the house. Kitchen dust is sticky, oily, and grimy. You usually can't simply wipe it away with a dry cloth or duster. You often need some sort of cleaner to get kitchen dust off surfaces. That brings us to the first advantage of taking kitchen cabinets to the ceiling. Here are the pros of ceiling height cabinets. Number 1, ceiling height cabinets require less upkeep. Without that open space above the cabinet to collect dust, you need to do less cleaning. And if you want decorative items in that open space above the cabinets, dusting that area is even more time-consuming. By adding ceiling height cabinets, less dust is likely to settle in that area. Ceiling height cabinets don't have that top surface where dust and grime can collect. Number 2, ceiling height cabinets give you extra storage space. If you like the idea of additional storage, and who doesn't, extra tall upper cabinets or double-stacked cabinets that reach the ceiling will give you lots of extra storage space to store seasonal cookware, platters, and appliances that you don't use on a regular basis. Number 3, they can create dust-free display space. Putting decorative items in double-stacked cabinets with glass door fronts allows you to showcase your favorite decorative items, family heirlooms, and serving platters and bowls. You can even add interior cabinet lighting to really spotlight your favorite pieces. And displaying decorative items in glass front cabinets is more of an up-to-date look than displaying items in an open space above the cabinets. Plus, decorative items stay cleaner and accumulate less dust when they're housed in upper cabinets. And number 4, they give your kitchen a finished look. Ceiling height cabinets make a kitchen look cohesive and high-end. Many people think a kitchen is more beautiful and luxurious when there are ceiling height cabinets. For all the advantages of ceiling height cabinets, there are a few disadvantages. Here are the cons of taking your kitchen cabinets all the way to the ceiling. Number 1, they aren't easy to access. The closer to the ceiling your storage space is, the more difficult that space will be to access. It's hard to reach the items that are stored at the top of ceiling height cabinets. You'll probably need a step stool to get to those things. If you do decide on ceiling height cabinets, it's important that you store only items that you occasionally need there. In addition to the safety concerns that some people might have about needing to climb on a step stool to access these tall cabinets, some folks might find these very high storage cabinets too inconvenient and may not use it at all. As a result, the added cabinets become a waste of money. Speaking of money, number 2, they cost more. More cabinetry means more money, and double-stacked cabinets with glass fronts have an even higher price tag than cabinets with standard doors. Ceiling height cabinets won't fit into every budget, and if your budget is tight, you can easily do without them. Number 3, they can make smaller kitchens feel less open and airy. Ceiling height cabinets can provide a more finished look, but they can also make smaller kitchens feel tight and claustrophobic. This is especially true with dark cabinetry in a small kitchen. Okay. So those were some of the pros and cons of taking your cabinets to the ceiling. Now let's briefly talk about some standard kitchen cabinet dimensions. Standard base cabinets are 24 inches deep, but they also come in 12, 15, and 18-inch depths. Standard base cabinets are 34.5 inches tall without a countertop and 36 inches tall with a standard 1.5-inch countertop. Standard upper wall cabinets are 12 inches deep, but they also come in 15-inch, 18-inch, and 24-inch depths. Traditionally, upper cabinets have been 30 inches tall, but you can now get upper cabinets that are 12 inches, 15 inches, 18 inches, 24 inches, 36 inches, and 42 inches tall. We often have to combine a taller and a shorter upper cabinet to get cabinetry to go all the way to the ceiling. Let's look at an example of a kitchen with ceilings that are 9 feet tall. That's 108 inches. If we had standard 36-inch tall base cabinets and the standard 18 inches of space between the countertop and the bottom of the upper cabinets, how could we get cabinets to go all the way to the ceiling? How much cabinetry would we need? So 36 inches high for the base cabinets plus 18 inches of space above the countertop gets us to 54 inches so far. To make the cabinets go all the way to the ceiling, we need another 54 inches of cabinetry because 54 plus 54 equals 108. So for the upper cabinets, we could combine a 42-inch high cabinet with a 12-inch high cabinet. Or we could combine a 36-inch cabinet with an 18-inch cabinet. You could also opt for shorter cabinets and fill in that gap with a few inches of trim and molding. Finally, let me tell you about a couple of circumstances where taking cabinets to the ceiling is not the best idea. For those with extra high ceilings in the kitchen, those ceilings that are higher than 10 feet, the general rule of thumb is not to take the cabinetry to the ceiling. Functionally, cabinets higher than 10 feet would be extremely difficult to get to, and aesthetically, cabinets that are too tall can overwhelm the space. The second scenario where cabinets shouldn't touch the ceiling is when you have beams in the kitchen. With beams, cabinets should go just below the beams, where they would naturally go if the beams were actually structural instead of just decorative. So to keep the beams looking structurally authentic, set the beams directly on the ceiling and the cabinets below the beams. Check out some example photos in the show notes at BYHYU.com. Kitchen cabinets that go all the way to the ceiling can increase your storage space and add an area to display decorative items. Plus, ceiling height cabinets give your kitchen a more finished, higher-end feel. If you love the look and have the budget, I definitely suggest taking cabinetry all the way to the ceiling. But ceiling height cabinets might not be right for all kitchens and budgets. If you decide against kitchen height cabinets, consider leaving the space above the cabinets as open as possible to keep your kitchen looking current, open, and airy. Clutter, even decorative clutter, above the cabinetry can make your kitchen look dated. Do what you love, but try to resist the urge to decorate that space with ceramic roosters, wine bottles, and silk plants like you did in the late 90s and early 2000s. Well, that's all I have for you today. I hope you learned as much as I did. If you know someone who needs this episode, you can share it with them by text or email or on your social media platforms. Thank you for joining me. I hope you'll come back next time for another episode of Build Your House Yourself University by BYHYU. Please remember that the purpose of this podcast is simply to educate and inform. It's not a substitute for professional advice. The information that you hear is based only on the opinions, research, and experiences of my guests and myself. That information might be incomplete, it's subject to change, and it may not apply to your project. In addition, building codes and requirements vary from region to region, so always consult a professional about specific recommendations for your home.